Let's start specifically with what your company does and the actual tissue, the idea of sort of effectively printing out new tissue that presumably could replace whatever people have lost. How far along are you in the process of developing that technology?
Well, thanks for having me on. I'm really pleased to be here. You know, Humacyte is really category creating innovation. We are engineering tissues at commercial scale that can be manufactured and then can be implanted into any patient without rejection. These are universally implantable human tissues that can be used to treat a huge variety of human diseases, including vascular disease, end-stage kidney disease, and ultimately diabetes and heart disease, as well as lung disease. The way the technology works is we use human cells to grow new tissues in our manufacturing system. The final tissues are decellularized so that the tissue itself can be implanted into any patient without being rejected. And in fact, the patient's cells migrate into the tissue and turn it into the patient's own new blood vessel. In this way, we're really regenerating brand new tissues, young tissues in our patients. And this has never been done before.
Never been done before. Looking at a way to eventually get on the market. Dr. Niklason, your perspective then of how the money you've just raised will help speed up that process?
Well, currently we're in late stage clinical trials. We're in phase 3 clinical trials using our vessels, both for the repair of vascular trauma, for example, car accidents or industrial accidents. We're also using our vessels in patients who have kidney failure and who are on hemodialysis. We are in late phase 3 trials, and we anticipate finishing these trials later next year and to be on the market sometime in 2023 with 1 or 2 indications.
Doctor, we have to ask, why the SPAC route versus a traditional IPO or other fundraising rounds?
Well, you know, we had multiple options open to us. Humacyte has been wonderfully well capitalized. We have a group of very sophisticated and committed investors. We've taken in almost $500 million during the lifespan of the company thus far. And that private investment has allowed us to both really prove out the technology in patients. You know, we've been in man for more than 8 years in 3 different disease areas with excellent outcomes. And it's also allowed us to bring our technology up to a commercial manufacturing scale. So we've really de-risked a lot of the technology and the manufacturing pieces. In order to go to the next level and really drive our commercial efforts and to drive our pipeline, particularly our pipeline in diabetes and in heart bypass, we really felt it made sense to go to the public markets. We again did have a number of opportunities with investment banks who wanted to take us out by a standard IPO route. Yeah. But we were also approached by a number of SPACs, and the Alpha Healthcare SPAC was really an ideal partner for us because they're so experienced in the healthcare SPAC space. Yeah. The management of the Alpha Healthcare SPAC actually raised another SPAC earlier and took DermTech public, and DermTech has gone on to do very well and is over 10x in terms of its share price.
I am curious though about the financial benefit here. Was the financial benefit greater here going with the SPAC route than going with the traditional investment bank IPO route? Was there something more than just the finances that was at play here?
Well, I think the financial outcome is actually probably similar. You know, in terms of the outcome for the company. You know, I will say that there are benefits to being able to go through the SPAC process, particularly for really cutting edge or category creating companies like Humacyte. So for example, like 23andMe or SpaceX, you know, these are all out of the box companies that really benefit from having an opportunity to interact with sophisticated investors and really teach them about the value proposition of the technology and the company. If you can imagine, on a typical IPO roadshow these days, you know, that's very compressed and all in Zoom mode with a bunch of 45-minute meetings, it can be a little more challenging to tell the story about a really transformational company. So I really think that important groundbreaking companies are going to continue to go public by the SPAC route because it really allows you more time to interact with investors.